How to be successful in the face of adversity. Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Nahala, and in this video, we are going to talk about success even when it's difficult. We'll go through some examples of highly successful people who had very rough starts, and don't forget to stick around till the end because we'll do a powerful guided meditation where you learn to bring up the power that is needed to face adversity, difficulties, challenges that are inevitable on your pathway to success. So, this is actually a recording from one of my sessions, and I hope you enjoy. Welcome, everybody, to today's Mindset Mastery class. We're going to talk about overcoming adversity because it's part of the journey towards success. And at one point or another, if we haven't yet faced it, it comes, and knowing how to face it, knowing how to overcome it is an important part on the path to success. Success isn't about avoiding hardship, right? To become successful is actually to learn how to face those hardships and find a way to move through it. So every time we face an obstacle, a difficulty, we are learning new things. We're learning how to go around them. And it's part of the process, right? The whole process is actually the success itself, is like learning to navigate that. And the difference between someone who is successful and someone who isn't is just this mindset, the resilience, being able to adapt when things don't go our way. Then we have this mindset of success and we see success in our situation, whether it looks like a challenge or whether it looks like it's flowing smoothly. So I wanted to dive into some very successful people and share different aspects of their stories for mindset shifts that we can make in ourselves to start to reframe some of our experiences that we might look at as a challenge and we might see as a roadblock, or when it comes up, we might think something is wrong, but actually to recognize how common it is in every story of great success and see that in ourselves, right? And make that shift. So the first lesson is your story does not define you, right? So a great example of this is Oprah. And Oprah's childhood, she had a very difficult childhood filled with all sorts of obstacles and so much adversity that it would have been really easy for her to use that story to limit herself in some way and say, okay, this is what I saw growing up. This is what I experienced, and there's no way for me to change this. But rather than that, when she took those hardships as something that empowers her instead of diminish her, she was able to become Oprah. So when we have difficulties in our story, like difficulties in our past, things that we think about ourselves, instead of wondering why things are happening to us and putting our attention into kind of, yeah, like victimization or yeah, just getting stuck in that place. Instead of that, what we can do instead is actually reframe our thinking and ask ourselves the question, okay, there are these difficulties that are happening to me, but how can I use this experience to actually become stronger, to become wiser, and to become more driven? Like, how can we use this to move ourselves forward, even if it looks like the worst thing, right? So, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the story is, and no matter what our past has been, it does not define us or our future. Okay, rejection is not the end. So often in our journey, we're going to face rejection in one form or another, and actually, ideally, hopefully, many times, because it means we're actually making progress, right? So let's look at J.K. Rowling. She wrote Harry Potter, but before she actually published it, 12 publishers all rejected her. That's a lot, right? She has to go ask them, show them all these things, take all this energy, take all this effort. And after seeing 12, yeah, like after seeing all these publishers reject her, if she had given up, we wouldn't have Harry Potter. She wouldn't have she wouldn't have been J.K. Rowling who we know now. So it's really important to recognize that rejection is not an end, right? Every time there is a rejection or there is this kind of stopping or block in our path, it actually brings up a choice. It asks us if we want to continue or to stop. And many people stop and many people give up too soon. But if you decide to keep going, you can find a way. So the mindset shift here is rejection isn't failure. It's actually proof that you're taking action. It's easy to not get rejected if you don't move, right? If you're just staying in your room and you have this great idea, but you don't ever take an action about it, yeah, you'll never be rejected, but it will also never manifest. One way to think about this is that if you're not getting rejected, maybe you're not pushing yourself enough. You're not actually going for that big goal, that big thing that you have inside, that you're just something in you holds you back. Rejection is a good thing, and rejection is not the end. Okay, cool. Yeah, and so rejection really is just part of the game, right? You guys know Spanx, Sarah Blakely, who's the creator of that, which is a billion-dollar brand. Her story is really inspiring. She faced countless rejections, and she used to be like a door-to-door fax salesman. And so she'd always face rejection, but she would see it as a game. So she didn't get discouraged by it, but saw how to navigate the situation and, yeah, made it into something fun for herself. And how can she improve? And she just kept going and refining. So the mindset shift here as well is like when we face rejection, think of every no that we're hearing as something that brings us closer to a yes. So rather than, I know it like happens when we hear a no, it can naturally make us feel a little bit deflated or okay. And sometimes people give up. But instead of giving up in that moment, see what happened. What can we learn from this? And that will bring us closer to actually seeing a yes the next time. So instead of fearing rejection, if we expect it, we can use it as motivation instead of having it be this big weight or block in our minds. Cool. Failure is feedback. We all know Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb. So before he invented the light bulb, he failed 10,000 times. 10,000 times he tried, he tinkered with things and tried to get this thing to work, and it didn't work. And when he was asked about it, he doesn't view it as failure. He says, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Yeah, the mind shift here, right? Failure is part of the progress. So instead of I failed, say I learned something valuable. So really similar to the lesson from Blakely. Every time we fail or there is a setback, if we learn from it, it's actually progress. And when we view it as progress, it helps us open ourselves up to receiving that lesson and receiving that insight that might give us the clue to actually point us towards success. But if we close ourselves down every time there's an obstacle, we get discouraged and we move ourselves farther away from success versus, what happened here? What can I learn from this? And we move ourselves forward. Okay. It's never too late to start. Colonel Sanders, who created KFC, he was 65 years old and he had been rejected over 1,000 times before KFC started. And that's a long time and that's a lot of rejections. And he could have at any point stopped asking, stopped trying to move this thing forward that he knew in his heart was something worth sharing. But he didn't. He kept going. And even after so many years, so many decades, he was still open to the possibility of success, that this is something worth bringing up, that this is something worth still standing for and talking about. So that's an important thing too. It's not too late. Like wherever you're at right now, it's not too late to start. It's not too late to succeed. As long as you begin and you keep going, there's always a way to success. So age, setback, and delays don't matter. The main thing is persistence. When you know in your heart there's something, to stand for that and to keep moving that forward no matter what comes up, right? To keep finding a way. and then the way will show itself. Related to that, if one door closes, find another way. So Steven Spielberg actually was rejected from film school multiple times. He didn't get into, I think he was trying to get into USC's program and he didn't get in. And rather than just saying, okay, I didn't get into a film school, so now that's the way, that most people make it. So if I don't get into film school, like, how can I do this? Instead of that, he found a different route. So he actually ended up interning at Universal Studios and he built his whole career from the ground up, starting from an intern and becoming Steven Spielberg. So, yeah, there's always other ways. So, when we do face these roadblocks, and if a door fully closes, there are other opportunities, right? So, if the front door is locked, climb in through the window. These roadblocks are detours for us. They give us another way where we experience things, we learn things, we discover things that we might not have known that actually leads us to a better place. Cool. Limitations are only mental. If you guys have heard of Nick, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Vujicic, he was born without arms and legs, and he's a very famous speaker, and he's a motivational speaker. He's an author. And if he had focused on what he was not able to do, right, like the disadvantages that he was born with compared to others, he would not have been successful. Instead, he focused on what he can do. Okay, no arms, no legs, but I can speak, I can inspire, I can motivate others. So many things, right? There's so much you can still do. And so when we see in our own lives, in our own minds, like, of course, there's going to be problems, disadvantages, challenges that each one of us face. But when we put all of our attention into how we are disadvantaged, what the problems in our life are, then we see problems, right? If instead we see opportunities in that and we look for solutions, that's what we'll find. We'll find solutions and we'll be able to move forward. So, really, we've been talking about this, but the way that we see ourselves and the way that we see what is going on really determines what's possible. Cool. And yeah, visualizing our success. So we've been doing some visualization, so I wanted to share this one. So Jim Carrey, before he was famous, he actually wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered. And many years later, he got a movie deal worth exactly that amount. This is a cool one, right? So it's if we can see something in our mind, you can create it in reality. And that's why we've been doing some of these visualization exercises where we really see ourselves in that state of success and we feel what it feels like in our body. We see what it looks like through our eyes. And the more that we can see that and believe that, the easier it becomes for us to create that in our reality. So clarity and belief and action equals unstoppable results. Before we go through these couple of takeaways, let's do a meditation exercise. So I'll stop sharing for a minute. Um, so yeah, let's do a meditation. So take a moment to fully arrive. And what we will focus on today is the power to move through adversity. So I want us to focus on there's a specific chakra. It's the navel chakra, which is about 2 inches below your belly button, and it's the center of power. And it gives the energy to be able to get things done, to move things forward. It's a very grounded type of energy. And so in previous sessions, we've been doing a lot of visualization exercises. And so today, I want us to focus on that grounded warrior-like energy that sees an obstacle as an opportunity, that knows that there is this great wellspring of power, of determination, of strength, of courage within each one of us that can face the obstacle, that can transform the obstacle, like all these people we read about, right? Some of these are, when we look at it in perspective, right? The things that we might be facing, we're like, wow, to be born without arms or legs, right? To be born into such a difficult situation, to face all these things and to have that resilience, to have that courage. So let's find that within ourselves. So we'll do a short meditation in silence. And let's bring our attention, 2 inches below the belly button. You can just have your focus there and feel this power filling your body. Let's begin. Feel your entire body being filled with this powerful bright light. Feel it giving you strength, energy, the right outlook. Wonderful. Thank you. That was a very beautiful meditation. Okay, so let's go through 5 ways to kind of master our mindset in the face of adversity. So how do we see adversity in the right way? So the first one is accepting that adversity is part of the path to success, right? If we reject it and we don't expect it to come, we don't want it to come, then when it does, it becomes a big problem. Instead, if we're open to adversity, open to challenges being part of the process, and it's part of that game, right? Sarah Blakely, where she gamified her door-to-door sales job, because you face a lot of rejections in that kind of a role. But if you see it as a game, you see it, okay, this is the nature of the thing that I'm dealing with. Okay, fine. Then I can look at it in a different way. There's no problem here. This is just part of the process. So that's step one, and it's a big one, is really opening up and accepting adversity. The next one is reframing what comes up, right? So if there's a major setback, the thing that you put a lot of time, a lot of energy into fails, it doesn't succeed. Instead of viewing it as a failure, see it as a stepping stone, right? See what can you learn from this experience? What has it taught you? How is it actually bringing you towards your goal? How is it actually bringing you towards success? When we see it again as something that we wasted time on, then it pushes us further away and we miss all those valuable insights. We put so much time and energy into it, right? So if there is a setback, let's learn from it. Let's use it to progress. Number three, believing in ourselves, right? So even when others don't, even when the situation looks like we shouldn't, our mind tells us that we shouldn't, to continue to believe, like in that vision in yourself that you set out to do, know that it came up for you for a reason. And if you still feel that in your heart, even if the situation is difficult and there's a part of you that thinks, okay, I've tried and now, like Carl Sanders, like 1,000 times I've tried and I failed. But still, there's some part of you that knows that it's important to do. Believe in that and believe in yourself and don't give up. Keep going. Number four, stop waiting for permission. So, yeah, when you are faced with these kinds of challenges, and if you're waiting for someone to tell you what to do or waiting for the perfect situation and all these things, stop waiting, right? Start taking action, start doing the thing that you're afraid of, that you might face rejection. Like, go and try, right? Don't wait for somebody to invite you in. Go and try. Open up that invitation, open up that dialogue. Do whatever you can in your power to take that next step. And then the last one is really patience. So playing the long game, right? Success doesn't happen overnight. So when you are in a situation, or it's been a couple of weeks or a couple of months or a couple of years and you're facing obstacles, recognize success is a long game. Knowing the nature of it, it can help you to accept it. It can help you to have the patience to endure that, to find brightness in that, to find learning opportunity in that. All right, so that was the session. I hope you got something from it. If that meditation helped you bring up the power that's needed to overcome any obstacle on your path, I invite you to practice it not just once, but revisit it again and again. And as always, please leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you, and like, subscribe if you like this content, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Take care.